He's been one of the Lightning's biggest contributors offensively. Is Brayden Point a top 5 center in the NHL right now? We'll debate that on today's Locked On Lightning.
You're Locked On Lightning, your daily podcast on the Tampa Bay Lightning, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On Lightning your first listen of the day every single day. We are your free daily Tampa Bay Lightning podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. As always, we want to start out by saying hello to our Locked On Lightning everydayers, all of you who listen to the show every single day, every single week. We love you guys. We appreciate the support you give us week in, week out. I'm Nick Morgan, and I am joined by the Freddie Modine to my Corey Stillman, Greg Steven. Greg, how's it going there, man?
Very well. Impressive how many of those you can come up with. Excited to talk about one of our star players today, and then, a little pizzazz final conversation for today. So it's a good show.
We do. Great teasing ahead. Love that enthusiasm. We are going to be talking about the NHL's most/least improved teams this offseason. Not teams that we necessarily think are going to be taking a big step forward, just teams that did big work this offseason to really supplant their players and maybe bring them a big step forward for next year. That's coming up on today's show. First, I want to mention today's episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNHL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. All right, Greg, we are continuing our player preview series with the number one center for the Tampa Bay Lightning, a.k.a. the guy that you and I varied very differently on where he ranks in terms of top 5 Lightning players right now, and that's Brayden Point. Big year last year, again, led the team in goals. This is a guy that I think is just kind of always in the conversation for one of the Lightning's best players. Not big on league recognition. He should be, and I'm going to tell you why in a second. But first, Greg, I just want to ask you about his season last year. A little bit complicated the year before, especially in terms of his, I want to say, de-evolution as a two-way player a little bit. Did he rebound last year? What did you think of his game last year?
I think it changed, and I think it changed in a positive way, one that is less obvious until you really look at the numbers. If you look at his last few seasons, he was not very good in the plus-minus column. And I know, again, a lot of people hate that stat, but it is evidence of, your defensive game to some extent, right? And he hasn't been, I don't think he's been more than plus 10 in like 5 years. And I don't have the stats in front of me, but it's something along those lines, right? So this past season, he was plus 17. And that was his best season in the plus minus category since 2019. So look, he obviously sacrificed a lot of the more offensive mind to play a little more conservatively, right? And improve that number, which I think is extremely important for the Lightning right now, especially given, their kind of defensive issues that they have going on. You want your forwards playing D if they can, right? You want them to. And I think that's good. And look, he played 77 games this past season and he had 82 points. So let's not pretend like he didn't do awesome offensively either, right? That's more than a point per game. Yeah. So I think he did excellently. I think he moved in the right direction. I think I'd rather him put up 80 points and play defense than put up 100 points and not, right? Yeah. So that's kind of where I am with his season this past time.
Yeah, and it wasn't just plus minus. There's a lot of stats that the analytics community uses too, high danger changes against core tickets, that he didn't really rank well in either of them. So it's not just that. I do want to talk about him offensively, though, because I'm going to throw some stats at you. This is combined from the last 3 years.
Okay.
139 goals, which among centers is third in that span, only behind Austin Matthews, Leon Draisaitl.
Okay.
267 total points. That's sixth among centers over the last 3 years. Third in high danger chances created, only behind Matthews and John Tavares. He's top 10 in minutes, top 10 in Corsi. And as you say, we've seen him in the past be a defensive stalwart. That sounds like the resume of somebody who should be in the conversation for top 5 centers in the NHL right now. And he's not really. I think NHL.com ranked him 8th. One of the Lock-On shows, and I can't remember which one, was kind of talking about center cores. And they had Brayden Point ranked, outside the top 5. But Greg, I'm looking at the stats, and it's just like, okay, we have who else? We have McDavid, Draisaitl. We have Nathan MacKinnon. We have Austin Matthews. Is there somebody else in the NHL that is glaringly better?
Yes.
Brayden Point right now?
Absolutely. You know who it is? It's Sasha Barkov. It's Sidney Crosby.
See? Okay. No. Okay. I was going to say do we think Crosby's better than Point right now?
Yes.
I don't know about that.
I do. I don't think, until Sid shows some type of regression, I just don't know that there's really, obviously McKinnon probably is better than Sid right now. Leon's better than Sid right now. Barkov's probably better than Sid right now. And then you have like Matthews, you have Eichel, you have Scheifele, right? Those 3 are up there probably. You listed Matthews in like all the categories you just named as well, right? So
I said Matthews, yeah. I said
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So like, that substantiates the claim that he should probably be top 5 as well. And if you have Mac up there, Draisaitl up there, Barkov up there, and Matthews up there, then Point might fall into that 5th slot if you put him over Sid or Eichel or Scheifele. I don't think there's any other than those 3 names. I don't think anyone else would take 5th. So yeah,
it's also semantics because are you really counting Leon Draisaitl as a center?
Yeah,
but even if you are, he and McKinnon obviously. I think Nathan MacKinnon obviously, and I think Austin Matthews. And after that, I think you can get really in the weeds and really have a debate here. I'm sure like Sasha Barkov is an amazing player, but I wouldn't necessarily say like automatic. Yes, he's like better than Brayden Point, especially on offense. Like 23 goals year before. Like he's like an 80-point player, which I'm not Panthers fans. I am not crapping on Sasha Barkov. Please do not come at me and say crap on Sasha Barkov. Amazing 2-way center. But it's also like Brayden Point offensively, I think, has been better than Sasha Barkov.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think Point's better offensively. I think Sasha is better defensively. And I think he's much better defensively. And I think that Point is only a little better offensively. And I think that that's where, for me, I think that Barkov is just a tiny bit above Point right now. And forgive me because I don't know Barkov's age at this point, but I want to say he's like 27, 28. And Point's
29.
29, and Point's 30, right?
He'll hit 30 by this time the season starts.
Right, and Point I think is turning 31. So they're like right around that same age. So it's funny. They are very, I feel like they are very comparable. I would say Point is a more offensive guy though.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I'm sticking.
Let me throw this at you.
Go ahead.
Here's another reason I'll put Barkov above Pointer, right? I think Point is excellent. I'm not taking anything away from him, but he plays with Kucherov, right? So it's not like Barkov doesn't play with great players, but he doesn't play with Kucherov, right? So I think Barkov is more of the creator for those guys, and Point is more of he benefits more from others, and Barkov is more of a developer on his own, right? So I think that's another element that would probably give him a slight edge, but again, close. It's definitely close.
It's interesting because I think like the Barkov role and I think the Barkov role may be more comparable to what Kuch is for the Lightning, whereas I think Brayden Point's role might be more comparable to what Matthew Tkachuk is.
Yeah, I know. I agree. The only difference is that Tkachuk hits people.
True. Yeah. Also blocked shots a few times too.
Yeah.
Not Brayden Point's game, but I still think he is in that conversation for 5th spot. I think there are only 4 like I said, only 4 players that are wholeheartedly not up for debate better than him right now, I think you can debate putting him in that top 5. And that's all I'll say. Let's look ahead to his game next year. One big thing that Brayden Point has not been able to do in his NHL career, top 100 points. Does that change next season? We'll debate that next on Locked on Lightning. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. College football, it's back. I hope you guys enjoyed Farmageddon this weekend. Honestly, there's nothing better than the energy of tailgates and being in the stands with your fellow fans. The only downside, trying to get tickets. Endless queues, hidden fees, and prices that jump as soon as you hit checkout. That's why I use Gametime. It's the app that gives me the advantage and all the fans the advantage of buying seats at the last minute. It's the easiest way to score last-minute tickets at the best prices with no surprise fees. What you see is what you pay. I pulled up Gametime, and in just a couple of taps, I saw amazing deals. Talking about your favorite college football games for as low as $25. The app made finding my seat super simple. I could even see the exact view from my seat before buying. And zone deals. God, you're going to love zone deals if you download Gametime. You pick the section, and Gametime picks the seats for you, the best value, and you save big money. So take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket. It's that easy. Download Gametime today. We are back on Locked on Lightning. Hey, quick thing, folks. We have an important request. Locked on wants to hear from you. We've put together a survey to learn more about our listeners and what makes your favorite podcast even better. This is your chance to tell us what you like, what you don't, and answer questions about our advertising. Go to lockedonpodcast.com/survey to get started. Everyone who completes the survey will be entered for a chance to win one of 10 $100 Amazon gift cards. Again, lockedonpodcast.com/survey. You can also find the link in the show notes. So thank you, folks, for helping us out.
You know what? Let me throw in 2 more announcements.
Okay, 2 more announcements.
My first one that I want to shout out is Lightning fans. I believe today is the day that the Stadium Series goes on sale for the public.
Ooh.
So if you are looking to go to the Stadium Series, you might want to consider jumping on that soon because let me tell you, I bought my tickets in pre-sale and it was already like they were almost gone. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
And I was in Group 4, so God, if you're looking to go to that, definitely keep your eye on those. And the Gametime reminded me.
There you go. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. The second thing is a lot of people were asking me about how I got my tickets, and that is because I am signed up for Bolts for Life. A lot of people are messaging me on Pucks and Bolts and all that, so I want to clarify that the pre-sale happened for people who are members for the Lightning. So that is why people were able to access them early, but they should be on sale now. So just
Awesome.
wanted to clear that up.
Yeah, mark your calendars because that is going to be really fun game day experience.
Definitely. And you don't know when the Lightning are going to host it again, right? So it's just it could be a once in a lifetime potentially opportunity. So
yeah, God, I want to watch a hockey game from a pirate ship.
Yeah,
that is my goal in life, Greg. Hey, one person who's going to be there is Brayden Point. We've been talking about his 2025 season. We're looking ahead to 2026 now. Greg, expectations for Point for next year. Is this the year he finally breaks through and tops that 100-point mark?
Nah, I don't think so.
No.
I think he would have done it already. I don't see why he wouldn't have done it already. I don't see any of the stars necessarily getting better than they've ever been before. I think most of them will remain like on par with what their past few seasons have been, especially with Point showing a better defensive game this past season. I just think that the numbers offensively are not going to increase because of that. I think the only person I could see going up is Guentzel.
And here's the only reason that I would say maybe he could is because it did take a while for Guentzel to kind of find that perfect chemistry with Kucherov and Point.
Yeah.
And that was something we talked about last week when we were talking about Jake Guentzel. I think if maybe there's a hotter start based on them having some chemistry coming over from last year, then I think maybe you get to Brayden Point, maybe flirting with 100 points for the first time. Maybe he gets back to that 50 goal mark that he was at a couple of years ago. But the thing for Brayden Point for me is, the points aren't necessarily his game. We talk about him. He does a lot of other things really well. And I'm with you. I would like to see him maybe focus on defense a little bit more, maybe be that two-way guy he was a few years ago. If Kucherov's scoring 110 to 130 points like he's been the last couple of years, if Jake Guentzel you predicted Jake Guentzel was going to hit 100 points this year. If he can get to that mark, you don't necessarily need Brayden Point to be the guy that's just throwing up big numbers. You just need him to kind of be what he's been this year, or the past couple of years, which has been the guy who finishes his high danger chances, the guy that gets in to tight spaces, the guy that creates space for other players while off the puck. That to me is Brayden Point's game. And in a way, and I'm going to say their games are very nuanced, and I think fans might jump at this a little bit, but he does give Patrice Bergeron vibes a little bit, prime Bergeron, maybe not defensively the past couple of years, but he's Bergeron had Pasternak on his wing. He had Brad Marchand on his wing, and Bergeron was just kind of the guy that was, he started the play and he was just the support guy on that line. The best. And I don't mean that as he was not a part of that line. I just said he was, the guy that I think his role was to go out there and create space, make a smart play, and set up the other players. And I think that's what Brayden Point is. And I think that if he's good with that, it doesn't necessarily matter if he hits 100 or not, as long as he scores in bunches and as long as he remains a key setup guy and a space creator and a play starter for Guentzel and Kucherov.
Yeah, and he's fast, right? And I think that is an element that ties into what you were saying. He's like a setup guy more, and they use him a lot on zone entry. Like they will dish him the puck with speed, right? Because they know he can just fly in the zone.
Yeah, play starter.
Right. And that is obviously an incredible part of his game. And then the other part is just having him in front of the net, even if he's not scoring, is an issue, right? Like someone has to watch that, because with Kucherov on that half wall, like at any time that puck can go to Point and go in the back of your net, right? So as long as he's parked in front, he is doing his job. And I think that the reason I don't think he'll go up is because most teams have seen that at this point. And we saw that this past season. I feel like Point was locked down for the most part in front of the net. Like people know that Kuch is going to put the puck there if he can, right? So I think a lot of teams have really focused on shutting that passing lane down between those two players, because they know that that's like a big part of the Lightning's game, right? Yeah. So ideally, I think he plays a better defensive game and he contributes in the same way he did this past season. Be smart, play conservatively, but also use your speed. Let's create some opportunities and be that bumper guy in front. And I hope to God they do not take him off the power play bumper spot again and put Chaffee there, because holy crap, that was awful.
Yeah. No, I don't think that's going to happen again.
God.
Boy, wait till we get to the Mitchell Chaffee preview for next year. We're let me clarify. We're not doing an entire show on Mitchell Chaffee like we're doing for Brayden Point right now. But no, we'll talk about the depth guys later. But I also, to your point, Greg, I think that there's enough skill on that top line to beat that. Yeah, it's like the Alex Ovechkin power play shot. Everybody knows it's coming. Everybody is playing to prevent that shot from happening. That shot still happens and it still goes in. I know that teams have kind of figured out how to play the Tampa Bay Lightning, it doesn't necessarily mean what they're going to do works, you know?
Yeah.
Like I think teams have, in theory, figured out how to play Connor McDavid. Does it stop?
That doesn't matter.
Connor McDavid? No. And I think there's enough skill from this Lightning, and there's enough guys in their primes right now that I really don't think that matters. I'm not going in worried. It's like, like they figured out how to defend, the Point Kucherov connection. Like, what are they like? Are they going to change things up? I don't think that's going to happen from the Lightning, right? Like,
I hope you're right. I am nervous that after how the Panthers just totally shut Kuch down this past postseason, that a lot of teams are going to be like, wow, so all we have to do is that, when we play the Lightning.
But again, not every team's the Florida Panthers. No,
absolutely. Not every team's going to have the ability to do that, right? So yes, the Panthers are an anomaly, and I think that is the ultimate roadblock for this Lightning team. I think they clear most other teams on paper, I think. So yeah, I think it'll be about the same. That's where I'm at.
Yeah. Hey, you mentioned the Florida Panthers. Our next segment is talking about the NHL's free agency offseason winners and losers. Which team is most improved? Which team took a big step back? I have a feeling the defending Stanley Cup champions are going to be on one of those lists, Greg. We'll talk about that coming up in 1 second. Welcome back to Locked On Lightning. Nick Morgan here alongside Greg Stephen. Greg, let's talk about the NHL offseason as a whole. We are talking about offseason winners and losers. Let's start with, I think, the NHL's biggest winner this offseason. They won the Stanley Cup, and now you have to look at what the Florida Panthers did this offseason. They had the potential to lose 3 big-name free agents. Aaron Ekblad, who has been their number 1 center for, the better part, or number 1 defensive, got ahead of myself here, sorry. Number 1 defender for the past couple of years. They got Sam Bennett, the returning Conn Smythe winner. They got Brad Marchand, their big, acquisition. Everybody was like, okay, the Lightning have been through this before. We know what's up. They're going to lose at least one of those guys just because the cap is what it is. They wind up re-signing all 3, and not just re-signing all 3 at a little bit of a discount, especially, I would say, Aaron Ekblad. I would say just based on the offseason, Greg, the Florida Panthers have secured their spot to be the runaway favorites for cut number 3.
I mean, look, yeah, it's going to be a tough topple for any team, right? I just hope that the Lightning aren't in the first round against them again. Yeah.
Hey, another topic of conversation we're going to have is, does the NHL need to fix the playoff unit or the playoff format?
Yeah.
Because it's gotten stale. By far, I would say of any team in the NHL, Florida Panthers have had the best offseason. Let's talk about teams that have improved this summer, Greg. Who are you looking at as one of the NHL's most improved teams?
I think the most improved team this coming season, at the end, I hope that I'm right. I think it'll be the Sharks. And here's why. First of all, Celebrini, Eklund, and Will Smith are unbelievable. Like, unbelievable. And they're so young, right? And they are going to get so much better. And they're already insane. Like, Celebrini is a monster. Anyone who didn't watch that kid's game, you just go watch some clips because holy. Now, you add in Kucherov, right, who was just kind of like underutilized in the Hawks, and also the Hawks are terrible, right? And I think the Sharks are substantially better, so he's going to have a much better situation. And then you talk about offseason and moves that have been made, we'll just say recently, right? They add Ryan Reeves, who I wouldn't say is wonderful, but look, a guy that's going to punch someone in the face for hitting Celebrini, add him. Yeah, add him to the team.
Locker room guy.
They add Vince Descharnais. That dude is a feisty man. He will fight some dudes too. And that's a great guy to have on your team when you have a bunch of young, talented speed demons, right? Like, he's going to go out there and punch people in the face too for them.
Yeah.
Then you add in Klingberg on defense, who's an experienced vet. That's awesome. They add Jeff Skinner for a little bit of veteranship. They have Goudreau over there already, right? They have Toffoli over there already, who is obviously like best pals with these young guys, and he has been a mentor that we just saw. I feel like most of the media I saw from the NHL this past season was how great Toffoli was friends with like Celebrini and Will Smith and Eklund. Like they all love him. Like, and they are just so close and they're so fun, and the vibe in that locker room is so great. And then you bring in all these guys for enforcing purposes, right? To guard these young guys.
Yeah.
And it reminds me of like the old NHL where like they got these young talented guys, they got these big feisty men to protect them. And then you talk about Askarov in net. Dude is 23, looks awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Give him a couple of years, he's going to be insane. And he's huge too, right? If I'm not mistaken. I think he's like 6'4" or 6'5". He's like a big man. God, I think the Sharks are going to be a force in the next few years. I don't think they're going to be like a cup contender this season, but holy dude, they are headed in the right direction. And I think like their moves impress me the most, honestly.
Yeah, as a guy who followed the Nashville Predators for Locked On, yeah, the Askarov move I think still hurts Nashville fans a little bit. He also didn't mention Dmitry Orlov going over there as well.
Right.
Prime. Nick Leddy, who I just found out while researching this was still in the league.
Yeah.
I think they did all the right moves to put good players around their rising stars, and they have a heck of a good core. They have a lot of top prospects who still haven't even made the roster either. Right. Greg, I want to take another one, or I want to throw another most improved candidate at you, because I think we've kind of debated this one before. That's the Carolina Hurricanes.
Okay.
I mean, look at what they did this offseason. I would say, like, in terms of quote unquote big moves, other than the Knights getting Mitch Marner, which I think that's another one that's going to be most improved. But you get Nikolai Ehlers, who was probably the best free agent forward on the market after the Marner sign-in trade. I don't really think you can officially call that free agency because he talked to like one team.
Right.
After that went down, they scored him over what was already a pretty solid top six. He is really going to bolster them there. And then they also go out and they trade for Keandre Miller. And again, that was a really strong defense that the Hurricanes had last year that they're now bolstering a very, very good sort of up and coming defensive prospect. You know, essentially you trade Brett Burns, who goes to Colorado, for Keandre Miller. That's in terms of youth and building around, that's a huge upgrade to me. Where do you see the Hurricanes this year?
Yeah, no, you're right. It is an upgrade, 100%. And those are two huge players to acquire. My thing with the Hurricanes is their style of game. And I know some people will say it works so well. They're always, in contention. Does it? Come on. Like, they play a man-on-man coverage game, and it just does not work for a lot of NHLers in the modern era. It just doesn't. That's why they don't, in my eyes, and people will argue with me about this, but I think a lot would agree as well. They don't have any superstars. They really don't.
Like, I don't think they need them, though.
Why? What have they done that convinces you they don't? They don't have a guy that is just leagues above others. And maybe they don't need that, right? But they need to do something other than just keep adding guys and hoping that it works out. Because I feel like that's all they've done the last several years. They just they bring in these names and you're like, oh my God, the Hurricanes got this guy. And then, that guy doesn't like it. Or they just, they don't succeed.
Miko Rantanen didn't like it, but.
Sure. I mean, Guentzel didn't stay.
I mean, that free agency deal.
I know, but I just really think that, if you wanna not play man coverage, you just can't play in Brindamore's system. It's just not a thing. And you really need to be willing to play a big defense. And that's great for some guys. Is Ehlers that guy? I have no idea. Maybe he is. Maybe it'll be awesome. The other thing with Ehlers is just he just has a little bit of injury concern for me. I don't think he's played a full season in a while, right? So yes, Ehlers is a monster. I draft him in fantasy all the time. The last few years, I just always take him. He's just awesome. He's such a good sleeper too, because people are always like, oh, he's injured. But we'll see. Again, I don't see. They don't have Draisaitl to score 50 goals for them. They don't have Kucherov to put up 100 assists for them. It's just. I don't know.
I mean, I look back on past NHL teams, and it's St. Louis Blues, who do they win the Stanley Cup with? It's the same thing. Like the first time, Vegas made that run, who was the star on that team? I think you can win without a bona fide, 100 point a year superstar. I think it's tougher, but I think if you have a system to do it, and Carolina, you can't say the Carolina Hurricanes without saying the word system. That's a team that can get it done. And hey, they've steamrolled through the division for 2 straight years, and their only crime has been not being better than the Florida Panthers. I would say like that's not a bad team by any means. So I'm looking for Carolina. I disagree wholeheartedly. I think they're going to be a better team. I think they have the tools to threaten.
So do you think that they would contest the Lightning? And if they saw them, let's say they just go against each other round one.
I'm not saying they'd win. I'm saying, yeah, they contest them. Like they'd make it a series.
Okay.
I think they have the roster to do it. Yeah, I don't think that's far-fetched at all.
I just like they don't have a physical game either. They're not like a huge team size-wise. It just like there's so many qualities, and in my opinion, for a cup-winning team that just don't exist there.
Yeah, I don't know. It's semantics. Agree
to disagree.
I think the Hurricanes took a big step forward. We're running out of time, but real quick, do you have a least improved team or a team that you think fumbled the offseason a bit?
I don't know about fumbled. I think the Leafs will take a big step back without Marner. I think he was a bigger element than the fans and the team realizes. And maybe that's not even a part of why they made the decision they made. They just needed a change. But look, it's going to hurt them. It is.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think they didn't do enough to replace Marner. And that's hard to do.
Yeah.
Like it really is. But I'm with you. Losing Marner, I think, was a big bust there. I'm also going to throw the LA Kings at you, Greg, because I don't know what they're doing. They didn't want to bring back Gavrikov.
Right.
He was too expensive. So what they do, they throw $20 million at who did they get here? Cody Ceci and Brian Dumoulin. That's your defense. Oh, by the way, you've lost.
You said they paid $20 million for those two?
They have played a combined $20 million for Cody Ceci and Brian Dumoulin.
That's a lot of money.
After not wanting to pay Gavrikov. By the way, you still have an aging core up front that you haven't really addressed. You still have goaltending issues that you haven't really addressed. And you've lost to the Edmonton Oilers for what, like 9 straight years?
And like this past time too, they were so close too. It's like, oh.
Yeah, like it's to me, I don't know what they're doing. You talk about, we can debate the Hurricanes, whether or not they actually got better. Nothing the LA Kings done. Nothing about how much their young players have stepped forward. Nothing says, oh yeah, this is the year. This is the year they're going to finally get past the Oilers.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely not been a substantial improvement by any means. I think Byfield looks better every year, but that's kind of the only thing they have working for them right now.
Yeah, I mean, they have, and Brant Clark, I mean, they have good young players too. Alex Turcotte. It's just, what's the rest of the team look like? Yeah, you haven't really done anything to help, unlike the San Jose Sharks.
Right.
And the Carolina Hurricanes. That's going to do it for us on today's show. Hey, if you have thoughts on who the NHL's most and least improved teams are after this offseason, let us know. Drop us a comment on YouTube. Tweet us at Locked On Lightning. That's going to do it for us on today's show. Thanks for making us your first listen of the day. We'll be back with an all-new episode later this week. We'll see you then.